Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Colleen Rosso, and I work with corporate communications at DTE Energy. Thanks for joining us today for a storm update. We have with us Brian Kalka, Vice President of Distribution Operations at DTE, to give you an update about the storm and the resulting outages that occurred this evening. Brian, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, thank you, Colleen, and good evening, everybody. So before we get into the story here, I just want to give you a bit of an update as to where we stand. As we all know, there was a significant weather event that rolled through southeast Michigan late afternoon, early evening. Wind speeds with that event were extremely high. They were north of 70 miles an hour. I believe we actually recorded 76 miles an hour at Detroit Metro Airport. And with this weather, it did cause a number of outages. We have currently around 200,000 DTE customers who are out of power, and we have over 1,000 reported wire downs at this point in time. With the DTE crew members, we have thousands of members of the DTE team who are responding currently to the storm. And in addition to those crews, we have brought in approximately 800 resources from the Midwest to help with our restoration efforts over the coming days. These crews are expected to arrive both this evening, and then a few more will be arriving early tomorrow morning, all of which will be actively working by no later than noon tomorrow. At this point in time, our crews are out in the field assessing damage to understand exactly what we need to do to make restoration both safe and expedient. And once we're able to put eyes on our damage, we will be providing estimates as it relates to the restoration activity. These updates will be made to the outage map tomorrow morning sometime once we're able to put eyes on the damage. Here at DTE, we do recognize how difficult being without power is. Please rest assured that we are doing everything in our power to restore service to our customers as quickly and safely as we possibly can. And before we jump into questions, I do want to share a few words about safety. Safety of our customers and our communities is our #1 priority. And we cannot stress enough the hazards that can be created by the wire downs that this storm has generated. We want to make sure that everyone who has to go out knows that they have to keep their eyes open for downed wires and anything that these wires may be touching. And a few rules of thumb that we like to communicate during these types of events. If you see power lines, please stay at least 25 feet away from those power lines. Also, do not touch anything that those power lines may be in contact with. Power lines are not always arcing and sparking and making a lot of noise. Power lines that are really just sitting there quiet are equally as dangerous as those that are presenting themselves as such. So please consider all wires that are on the ground live and extremely dangerous. At this point in time, we recommend that as many people that can stay indoors as possible, especially children and pets. As we talked about, there are a number of wires that are down, and we want to make sure that our crews can get out there and address them before people are out and about. We will be putting up caution tape, in particular in areas where we do see down power lines. Do not cross the yellow caution tape. It is marking very dangerous areas, and again, do not cross the yellow caution tape. We do recognize that a lot of our customers do have generators. Clearly, you are not to use generators indoors. These generators do emit carbon monoxide, which can pose significant harm to animals and to human beings. So please make sure that generators are kept outside and they're kept far away from windows and doors to avoid any chance of fumes getting indoors. And I know that a natural response to these types of events when trees are down in backyards or limbs are knocked out of trees is to go out and clean them up. Please hesitate in doing that. Let's make sure we can get all of the DTIs on the down wires and other equipment before people go out and clean up this debris, because the debris can be hiding down power lines. And the last remark I will make before we open it up for questions is I want to assure everybody out there that here at DTE, we are laser focused on getting your power restored. We, again, will be deploying thousands of our resources in the field, and those resources will be working as hard and as quickly as they possibly can to make that happen. We will have crews working around the clock, so we've got shift coverage 24 hours a day, and they will be working for as many days as it takes to restore power to everybody who was affected by today's weather event. So that will conclude my remarks. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Do we have any questions that Brian can address?
I think we can hear you.
Hi, quick question. Can you target just some of the hardest hit areas that you guys have found?
This weather event, based on what we're seeing so far, it did impact a number of our areas. We do have some significant damage reported in the South Lyon Milford area. We also know of some damage that is significant in nature up in the Rochester area. But again, I would say this is one of those storms where it wasn't necessarily focused in one very close in proximity geographic footprint. It was really spread across the entire service territory.
Last question from me. Again, if you could repeat how many down wires you guys are dealing with right now.
We have over 1,000 down wires right now that have been reported.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? Please remember to unmute your mic if you're wanting to ask a question. Okay, with that, we'll conclude this press briefing. Please feel free to reach out to corporate communications if you have any additional questions, and we'll continue to keep you updated as restoration happens. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.